Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another edition of Unger the Radar. I want to welcome everyone here watching, and with me co-hosting today is Mr. Chris Clemente. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Randy. Good. How's it going?
Good. Glad to have you back again.
Thanks for having me, as always.
Yeah, great. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be really fun.
Yeah. So today we've got actor Joel Quiñones and your colleague, Mr. Michele de Maria.
Michele de Maria.
Oh, sorry. I'm never going to get it right.
No, it's okay. No one.
All right, so thank you guys for coming on today, and you're working on a new project, Foreign Nationals. Tell us a little bit about this.
So the idea started behind was because I'm first generation in this country.
Okay.
So my mother always just told me stories about how her struggle of coming to the U.S., what she had to deal with, me growing up in that environment, and I always kind of being as an artist, being an actor, I always wanted to tell her story. So I started writing out her story, and then I came to a realization that, this is bigger than just my mother, because the U.S., there's a lot of different immigrants in the U.S.
Right.
So, I came to the idea, I was like, wait, I should, try to get more writers, get involved in this, and let's try to make a drama series off of it to give other immigrants a voice as well. And let's tell their story of what they went through.
Okay.
So, and it's coming along nicely.
You're the producer, right?
Yeah, I'm one of the producer and the creator of it too.
Okay.
Michele is one of the producers as well. So, so we want to tell this story. We want to create this drama series that everybody can relate to and can enjoy.
Nice.
And, give them a voice as well.
Are you starring in it as well?
I haven't really...
Man of all trades?
I haven't really looked at it that way as of right now, because, me thinking of everybody else, I want it to be about everybody, not just me.
Now, is this a series, or is this a TV movie?
It's going to be a drama series. Like
on TV?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Okay, cool. How many different countries have you touched on, have you discussed in the show?
So we have 10 different countries that we're focusing on.
Okay.
And the reason that we chose these 10 is because according to the 2015 census, these are the 10 most populated countries in the U.S.
Okay, wow.
That's interesting. Yeah. It's very humble of you to kind of share that limelight with other immigrant stories. I was just curious, like, what inspired you to share those stories with other people? So you could have easily said, hey, I want to tell my own story. Yeah. So like, what decided you to say, hey, like, let's get other people involved?
A lot of it too is what's going on right now. There's a lot of conflict between the immigrants and the U.S., so I wanted to give them a voice.
Right.
I thought about everybody else, and I wanted to share this with everybody else, and I want them to give them a voice as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's such a topical time period. I think it's perfect timing, to kind of share that story with everyone. That's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we wanted to tell stories about people that usually are just a statistic. Like right now, especially, we are framed as immigrants who are just like, either we're taking their jobs or they're like all these DACA recipients are coming, like all these DACA recipients or whatever, they're human beings that have people and their lives will impact other lives, not only their personal. So when he approached me to first write the script and then to decide which ones we should work on, and when we start working on the project, it's incredible to see how many people who are just a statistic or a visa number or a type of visa really have interesting lives to tell, and how it's a make or break it, or they don't have the option to go back, or they really work hard to find a story, to find their bearings in the United States. So it's an interesting, it's about the human stories more about,
and giving them a voice, which is very important. How did you guys meet? I'm just curious. How did you connect?
I had approached them on LinkedIn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The power of networking.
Social media.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. That's cool.
Yeah.
No,
You mean LinkedIn worked? Jesus.
It actually does, man.
I had no idea.
That's a miracle.
Yeah, it's not just a black hole.
No.
There's actually
No, because I feel like LinkedIn is like the last place. Like if I'm really looking for a job and I go to LinkedIn, I'm like, I'm dead. I'm dead to the career world.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, no, it was amazing because I was like in this black hole in my life where I wanted to do something more creative. Like I'm in marketing. I wanted to go, and he approached me like a star in the sky. Like, yeah, hey, do you want to do something creative? Yes.
Nice.
And he
Well,
told me about the story.
what drew you to him? Like after reading his profile and works that he's done, like what kind of said, hey, I wanna meet up.
Well, I had originally approached him as a writer to write because I was looking for a screenwriter to do the Mexican story.
Right.
We wanted to focus on specifically the DACA story
Right.
because what's really important about this series is that we're identifying the different statuses between each individual person. So whether they're in an H-1B visa, a student visa, the DACA situation. So I looked at him and I said, hey, listen, I know that you're from Mexico. Well, your profile says just, I was like, I'm looking for a writer. And he approached me. He's like, oh my God, it's a great idea. Let's go ahead and try to write it. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out in the writing part of it. Not because he's not a talented writer or anything like that. Just because of the certain situations that we were in. I was already talking to other writers as well. So I looked at the rest of his credentials and I was like, man, you have some really great ideas. You know, you have a background in marketing. I was like, why don't you try to come on board and we can try to develop this together. And he was all for it. He didn't have an ego. Could have been somebody else be like, no, F you, man.
No, we were
out.
actually just talking about that. How important it is not to have an ego in this industry.
No.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, no, and honestly, the Mexican story is really good and much more relevant. I think mine is great.
Of course, that's a
but
given.
it worked really well for the whole project, and as we're trying to define how each episode is gonna be, if it's gonna be individual stories, if it's gonna be thread into one episode, if it's going to have like what tone is gonna have, how can we create like a formula that can be repeatable but with different stories each time. That story worked better. It has like a beginning and end, that it's easier to kind of confine into one episode or one little piece of episode. And that's what we're trying to find out. The challenge right now is because we have so many writers, there are so many from different places with different English levels, with different writing skills that tell either stories with voiceover or that are like we have to find what elements of each story work and how can we put those elements into episodes that work as a one thing.
Now you've written, obviously. Have you filmed anything yet, or is it too soon, or have you filmed?
No, we haven't filmed yet.
Okay.
So, we have a couple of different plans of how we're going to approach this. We started a pre-launch for a fundraising campaign.
Okay.
So, that's going to help us raise money in case we do go in that direction. And we're also going to be able to offer perks.
Kickstarter?
Yeah, Kickstarter.
Okay, cool.
Kickstarter campaign. It's on Indiegogo.
Nice.
So that's going to help us out a lot as far as getting the support behind this concept, this idea, this project.
How's the support been so far?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, everybody who I've approached and I reached out to them and I said, hey, listen, this is the premise, this is what we're working on. Everybody thinks it's a great idea.
Good.
So hopefully that continues on and we're able to launch this off the ground.
Now, are you gonna get in, or do you plan to get involved with the U.S. government at all? Are they gonna participate in the funding or consulting in any way?
I haven't really thought about that yet. I'm trying to see where that takes us.
Okay.
As far as whether or not they want to get involved, if they want to help,
Yeah.
but we'll be more than happy to.
I'm sure they'd love to give a hand. Yeah, I mean, come on, It's
If I can, what's your goal?
Our goal is we have a couple of different missions attached to the project.
Yeah.
So we want to give a voice to immigrants in front and behind the camera, as well as we want to employ different diversities. Right. We want to get different artists on board too. We're going to try to help them get sponsored if they're here, as well as donating an amount of the proceeds to different foundations. Whether to give them grants, help them with pro bono, and that nature.
That's great. Wish you guys all the luck. I'll be supporting you guys.
Yeah,
thank you,
same
man.
here.
Thanks.
So, Michele, you're a producer. What's your resume? What are some of your highlights?
So, really, and this is why this was so important. I'm from communications, and I started marketing. I moved to the US to work for Major League Soccer, and for and right now I work for Univision.
Okay.
I do sales marketing for Univision. But my real passion is movies and TV, and I always want to be kind of a writer, but never really had the balls to.
Well, here you are.
And yeah, and I took some workshops like Gotham Writers. And,
Yeah, I did a screenwriting course there.
Oh yeah,
it was very good,
and
very
I was
helpful.
covering 101 and then TV
Yeah.
101. Yeah.
Nice.
I really liked it, and I thought I could really do something out of it. And then after the course, and I had no one to share like stuff with, I kind of went into the same voice, and then he reached out to me, and I said like, yes, this is the thing that I was looking for.
This is my outlet. Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you, LinkedIn.
Yeah, sometimes you need to get involved with people that are motivated to do stuff.
Yeah.
So,
But he has a great marketing background. He has a lot of connections with Univision, and he has some people that we're gonna definitely approach too. And he's very creative too, man. I mean, sometimes his creativity can be a little out there, but but he's very creative, and he's very helpful, and he's driven too. So so you always need that. Sometimes you need somebody who's really passionate and really wants to work with you.
I can get that sense. I can sense it right now. Yeah. So, Joel, tell us a little bit about your acting background.
So I took a course in college. I was always curious about taking acting classes, and I took a course in college, and I fell in love with it.
Nice.
But I was kind of searching how to get into the business. Long story short, I ended up working in the industry. I've done a couple of different features. I've been in a couple of different TV shows.
Nice.
Done a lot of short films. Met a lot of great people, great individuals, and so it's
Like George Papa Diamatos, who connected you with me.
Right.
So yeah, it's all about who you know.
Right.
That's great. So you've done TV, you've done film. Do you prefer one over the other?
Theater.
Oh, theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Why is that?
Because theater, there's something special about theater. You connect with the audience when you're there. Like film and TV is moment to moment. Right. And you can kind of try to replicate the moment, but theater is live, so you only get one take, editing. One shot.
That's true. That's true.
And you can feel the audience when they gasp.
It's only
when
one
laugh,
take.
when they cry, and there's nothing like theater. I've had some great experiences with theater.
Nice.
Met some great individuals, worked with some great people. Some of the best times of my life.
That's great.
That's great. It truly is. Yeah. So going back to your current project. Do you always see it as a series, or do you see this maybe becoming a documentary?
It feels like a documentary.
It does feel like it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a docudrama because we're using events based on true events, not necessarily true stories, because we don't want to replicate exactly, but we want to take different pieces of different stories, which are based on truth, and connecting it and showing it to the audience.
That's great. That's
You don't want to get sued.
That too,
no,
right?
No.
Yeah. No, but we toyed with the idea of making it like a I love you, New York, I love you, Paris, Je t'aime kind of approach. We've thought about doing it. Each episode is like a Black Mirror kind of thing. Like each episode is its own universe and its own tone and its own story. With like that's like a little bit the challenge of having so many writers for so many backgrounds, that all of them have a different way of telling their story.
Okay.
And we have to define if it's gonna be a project that is going to have the same voice every time, like in terms of storytelling.
Sure.
Maybe someone introduce each episode. This is the story, and that'll be like the tie-in to each episode.
Maybe you should come in as a producer.
I'd love to.
I have to give him credit.
Yeah. We'll talk later.
Someone's getting sued now.
And for that matter, we're not affiliated with LinkedIn. That's great.
So, Joel, tell me a little bit about Cali Dreams.
Yeah.
What is that?
So this is a short film.
Okay.
Right? So I have a friend named Paris Holmes who created this story, and he had approached me about it. He's like, hey, I have these three girls who who want to go to California. The story's about these two girls. Unfortunately, because of their ways, they get evicted from their apartment. So once they're facing eviction,
Their ways, drug use.
yeah, or partying,
Okay.
you know, hanging out,
Being
and
a
not
little loud.
being
The
responsible.
lavish lifestyle. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right. They're facing eviction, and one of the girls comes up with this idea. Says, "Hey, why don't we rob? You know, try to get some money, and let's rob this place so we can go to California." You know, and one of the girls is like, "Oh no, Andrea's like, I don't really think that's a great idea," you know. But long story short, they convince her, and they go ahead with robbing. It's actually a brothel. That's yeah, it's a front as a bodega.
Oh, wow.
So they end up robbing the place, and unfortunately, it takes a turn at that point.
Okay.
And I don't want to reveal too much about it.
The dreams become a nightmare.
Right, dreams become a nightmare, and you have this black market behind it that's going on. There's all the backstory. It's similar to, I would compare it maybe to like Seven, the movie Seven, or the movie Get Out.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So somewhere around those lines.
Okay, that's ambitious, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, that's great.
Michele, are you involved with the project at all?
No, he actually just told me about the story today.
Yeah, I have a friend named Six, who's one of the writers as well.
Okay.
Paris is another writer.
Okay.
So we have two writers who are working together with the script. The script is completed. We're shopping it. We're hoping that we get some distribution so we can go shoot it in California and shoot it here in New York as well.
And I'll produce in that as well. Sounds good. So, back to Foreign Nationals. What do you guys hope audiences take away from it?
Well, I hope that first I hope that the stories are compelling enough that they work for themselves and that the characters and everything that they do, more than a political statement, it talks about what the nature of people is beyond whatever they are from. Like, human stories are human stories. But I also hope that by defining their statuses as foreign nationals, like understanding how is it that they came to the United States and what their struggle is to stay here. I mean, it's gonna steer the conversation anyway because that's where we are right now, and that's the discussion that's happening right now. But it's to give them more than just another statistic, and really give them a face to all these stories, to these individual stories.
And we want people to understand their struggles and what they've gone through, how they got into this country, their journey. So people can understand more when they see somebody who's an immigrant. Right away, they'll think, "Oh, this guy, it probably comes from poverty," or not every immigrant is a peasant.
Sure.
You have people who are highly educated who've come here and have to give up their doctorate degree and they're washing dishes.
Right.
So
essentially starting over.
Right. So some people have to have some empathy for certain individuals and be able to get here the right way too.
Sure.
So
I think that's a very important thing. Not a lot of people have that these days. There's like an incredible, just like, I got mine, I don't care kind of attitude. So I think it's a really important thing.
Yeah. And it also helps the GOP. If there's statistics that say that immigrants who come to the country have helped the economy. If you take those people away and you send them back to the country, our economy is going to...
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Absolutely. Everything is kind of driven nowadays. I mean, if you look at kind of the foundation of America, it was always driven by immigrants, right? So,
that's true.
Everything from...
Ellis Island.
Yeah, so absolutely. That's a great stand, and I wish you guys lots of luck.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one. It's not just a film project. This is like a movement I think you're starting. And I really think you're giving a voice to these people, and people need to hear that voice. And I commend you guys on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Could you also just mention just the breadth of countries that are involved here? How many immigrant stories or how many locations are you kind of highlighting?
So the highlight of the 10 countries are Mexico, and I'm giving you more in the statistics of how many of the population.
Yeah.
So I believe Mexico and China and India are the top 3 in the U.S. And you have Guatemala, El Salvador, Dominican Republic. I'm one of the writers too as well, so I'm telling my mother's story. And Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Cuba, That's another story.
Mm-hmm.
So we're telling a story of dry feet, wet feet.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with that law, Cubans who come into the U.S. were granted automatic residency because of the embargo in Cuba.
Right.
That was eliminated when Obama left presidency.
Right.
And so that's another story that we're telling as well. So we're highlighting 10 different countries.
Wow.
That's great. So really, it's global.
Mm.
You know, it's not you're not focusing on just one area, but many areas, and that's great. That's great.
Now, immigration's a huge thing, huge topic. Do you guys have any other important issues that you want to talk about in film down the road?
Good question.
We want to talk a little bit of, as far as
Social issues, things that people need to learn more about, you know, kind of educate the masses.
Yeah, like just ideas for future projects.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we want to do too is help artists.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to be able to employ different types of artists, get them sponsored.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of our goals too. Like if somebody comes here with a temporary visa and they need sponsorship, we could try to connect them with companies that are looking for certain artists so they can sponsor them.
Okay.
And that's another thing that
Are you talking about visual arts or film? Or
yeah,
music?
visual, any type of artist.
Any.
Right,
Okay.
right, any type
Nice.
of artist. So, you know, similar to the work that you do, that you work with different artists in the film,
Right.
we want to do the same. You know, and we thank you guys for definitely allowing us to.
And I'll be a producer on that too.
You're just building up your
yeah.
stream of
Just
work.
sitting here, it's great. But that's great, guys.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So this is a movie show. Oh, sorry.
No, and you as well. Anything down the pike?
No, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to get my feet wet a little bit in the whole industry. Hopefully, it'll turn into a successful partnership, and we can build other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Help produce a show if it gets off the ground, or you know, I don't know. That's right now in the present right now.
I see great things from both of you.
But one more thing before
Yeah.
just forget. I'm also working with these IT guys who are going to develop an app, a phone app that goes back to that whole sponsoring thing. So we're going to have different artists post their work, kind of similar to Instagram, but this is just for artists.
Okay.
So they're going to be able to post their work, and then we're going to have companies who's going to be able to look at their work, and then they'll be able to get sponsored that way.
Huh.
So that should be you know, something that we're working to as well.
You're developing the app yourself, or you have a team?
Yeah, I have a team of guys who are working on that right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have can you say the name of the app or?
Well, not yet.
Okay.
But
Next time you're on, we'll
Is it called Inked In?
Very close. Very close.
Nice. So guys, this is a movie show, and we talk all things film.
Yeah.
I just want to know favorite films of all time, top 3.
Damn.
I know, left field there.
and this guy's an encyclopedia when it comes to movies and TV.
What I
You want me to go first then?
Or you could do your current top 3 favorites.
All right.
Whatever you're feeling and vibing on.
No, I think
right
all
now.
time is
All time.
appropriate.
That's a tough question.
That is a tough question. Okay.
I like 7 Samurai. I've seen like 7, 8 times.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I like The Clockwork Orange. I've seen like 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
All right, now I'm questioning you.
You don't like Panther?
No, I love it. It's
Oh.
just very disturbing. I wonder what's going on. I wonder what's going on in your mind now. No, I'm just kidding with you.
It's so good. It's so good.
I don't know. This year, my favorite was between Get Out and Call Me by Your Name, for example.
Yeah.
But there are 2 very different spectrums.
Very different.
But I think The Shape of Water is gonna win. Yeah.
We'll see.
But that,
That's what
We'll see next Sunday.
Yeah.
How about you, Joe?
So Training Day,
Oh,
of course.
love
Yeah.
Denzel.
one of my classics.
Awesome.
Definitely. I'll probably say maybe Philadelphia.
Nice.
Okay.
Another Denzel
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
Well,
trying to go around.
Yeah, that's a coincidence. And then which is the third one with Morgan Freeman and did they go to jail?
Start.
The
Shawshank.
Yeah.
Shawshank,
Classics.
yeah.
Good
Nice.
choices.
Yeah.
Go to the 90s. Yeah.
Who do you think's gonna win Best Picture
For
The
for
Oscars.
the Oscars? Yeah.
Or who do you hope wins?
I don't know. It's tough, man. I haven't really been following it this year because I've been working so much with this.
Yeah. Well, Get Out's up for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got my money on Get Out, man.
Yeah.
I got my money on
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I'll go
I
for
don't
that.
know
Then.
why.
I'll go for that.
There you go.
It's political. That's the thing with that movie. It's very political.
Yeah.
So
It's
like
his
it's
first movie.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like it's a shoo-in kind of.
Yeah.
Like it's Jordan Peele's first major movie.
Right.
You know, he's planning on doing 2 to 3 more.
Yeah.
I think it's a shoo-in. I think he's gonna
He's
get it.
also he might revive Twilight Zone. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think
Yeah.
he's not gonna win because it's his first movie. I think
That's true too.
Yeah, it's like
How long it took Leo?
yeah.
20 years.
No, Quentin Tarantino still hasn't got it. And,
That's a good-
and
yeah.
they were gonna. He was gonna. He was one of the favorites for Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think I don't even remember.
Forrest Gump won. Best
Forrest
Picture.
Gump. Forrest Gump won that
94.
year, and it was all. It's okay. He's gonna do another one, and
Yeah.
he's gonna win soon.
Yeah.
And that's
He,
what
he
happened.
did win screenplay though, right?
He won screenplay for
Foreign Glorious.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Okay.
So good. This guy knows his stuff.
He does.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. Trivia night. Yeah.
Tarantino trivia. I love it. I love it.
He's gonna hate me for this one, but top 3. I'm gonna say one more.
Yeah.
Drive.
Oh.
Oh.
Yes.
Love it. Yes.
He didn't like it.
Ryan.
I have issues.
Yeah. Okay. Great
that,
soundtrack.
The film
Great
style.
soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah.
That direction was
Yeah.
spot on. It
I
was
love it.
perfect.
That movie. That movie was so good. I wonder if like Ryan Gosling got the script and he's like, "Do I say anything?"
That's my point.
That's his point.
I mean, it's a great movie. It's very well directed, like
Right.
visually and everything. All the sequences are great, but I don't care about the guy.
It could have
Like,
been literally any
anyone.
young, good-looking actor. Not even good-looking.
Yeah.
Anybody in
And
that role.
there's no like, why is he like that? Like,
I
there's no motivation. There's
I
no,
could have played that role.
for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's no reason why he they don't give us a reason why he is like he is. So I don't care
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
Reach out to the director and you can write the sequel.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
a prequel, so you can
Yeah.
get the backstory.
Driven.
Yeah.
All right,
Driver's
guys.
license.
Is there anything you want to plug before we
Yeah.
go? Any projects? that we-
The Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah,
Make sure to
yeah,
plug that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So make sure you guys go to Foreign Nationals theseries.com and we have a website up there. You guys can go to Indiegogo. You can see the IMDb page. You can see all the writers. There's about 10 writers in there, and the whole collective team that we're working with. Definitely subscribe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
definitely.
it's a great topic. It's a great issue, and
Yeah.
we should all be more conscious about it.
Yeah.
So great timing.
Thank you for this. This is a great thing you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for having
Thank
us,
you.
guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, okay. Anything else?
What's next?
What's
Yeah.
next?
What is next?
Well, we have our film review segment.
We do.
Everyone's a critic.
Yeah.
So, but we're gonna take a quick break. But when we come back, we will have our film review segment, and yeah, it'll be lots of fun. Stay
we're on. Yep, we're on.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Hello. I was just reading my notes here. Welcome back to Under the Radar.
This is a live show.
Yeah.
This is like the thing you guys said you wanted to do. Like, oh, hello.
Sorry, guys. So this is our film review segment. Everyone's a critic.
Yeah.
But with me today is Mr. Chris Clemente.
That's me.
Seasoned veteran critic.
Yes, thank
and
you for having me. It's always a blast.
Yes, thank you for being here again. We've got a couple movies to talk about today.
Some that you saw, some that I saw, some we saw together.
Yeah, it's a whole grab bag.
Yeah,
of
it's cool.
cinema.
That's the beauty of film.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's dive right in, shall we?
Let's do it.
First film is called Half Magic.
Half magic,
Written-
not full magic.
Just half, yeah.
Just the half.
And it's written, directed, and stars Miss Heather Graham.
Heather Graham. Yeah.
And yeah, it's about three women who go to like this seminar for female empowerment.
Right.
And once they leave, they basically, it affects their relationships, their work, their family, and basically the adventures that all three women are going through. And obviously Heather Graham is the star, and she's joined by she's very I don't really recognize her. It's Stephanie Beatrice.
Yeah, she's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
She's been in a couple of other films, but she's been doing a lot more recently.
Okay, yeah, she looks familiar, but I just couldn't place it.
Yeah.
And Angela Kinsey, who's on The Office.
Yeah, as Angela.
As Angela. That's Dwight Schrute's love interest.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've got an interesting group of women here, three very different personalities. Chris, what did you think of the movie?
What did I think? I was surprised. Let's put it this way. I had very low expectations. What intrigued me was to see Heather Graham on the big screen again, and to see her directorial debut and her writing debut. So that intrigued me. But let's face it, some of the films that she's in isn't always a masterpiece or isn't always substantial in content, right? Sometimes.
Hey, you leave License to Drive alone, sir.
Well, she had some great films like Boogie Nights, right? Or Swingers, yeah. Well, Spiders. That's what I'm talking about. Like, there's a lot of these popcorn comedies which are fun, but
Hangover.
Yeah,
right.
But really, they don't really have much meat to them.
Right.
And I know with this particular movie, and we were just talking about it, I was actually reading and listening to some interviews that she was having. This was kind of a platform piece for her, if you will. And she really used this as a platform to talk about female empowerment and talk about just this time that we live in with the Harvey Weinstein incidents and the Me Too and Time's Up. And it just fell in the lap of this time where it actually is now out in theaters to watch. And it was a pretty heavy topic for her, and I'm not quite sure if it landed the way. And forgive me, my wife is watching us right now, and we were talking about how I would approach this subject, but I don't think it landed where it was sensitive to the empowerment movement as Heather Graham wanted to be, according to this interview.
It didn't hit that point too hard. It didn't hit it,
yeah. I think it glossed over it.
Yeah.
It found it a little bit more humorous.
Well, this is her first directorial effort, so she didn't want to overstep her boundaries.
Right, and I think, with a lot of her filmography, she does play to comedy, and maybe she used her roots, and maybe she used her comedic background to actually touch upon this topic, and I'm a big fan of that. I think through comedy we see the light of certain topics, but to me I think it kind of didn't hit the mark a little bit. So did it at times? Sure. Did I enjoy the chemistry between them? Not as much, to be honest. I wished there were more of the three of them together from more of the film.
I think there was an ample amount of screen time for all three.
Yeah, but I guess it didn't lead itself to kind of this chemistry cohesion, if you think. I think individually, though, they portrayed very unique performances.
Right.
Heather Graham's Heather Graham. I don't think she's particularly a
kind
great
of a
actress. Yeah, she's very star-faced. Like she's very
she's very beautiful. But
very beautiful.
She's not an Oscar-winning actress.
No, but I think there's a certain film for her. I think she really landed Boogie Nights very well. I think. Given her level of acting and even her look, I think it was the perfect piece for her. But this, I felt like we wanted to get more of her character, but it wasn't quite there. But with that said, Angela gave, I think, one of the best performances of her career. I think it's something familiar with The Office, but something a little bit outside of her comfort zone.
Right.
You know,
she was a little more human.
A little bit more human.
Right.
I mean, all three of them kind of talked a lot about their sexuality and their sexual drive.
What was it, love? I'm not going to say the word.
Yeah.
But yeah, love the vagina or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a lot of that feminist talk,
Yes.
which is this is where I don't want to overstep or be insensitive, but I think there's a level where a lot of that type of talk can lead to just doing a 180 with the goal of the movie, where it becomes a little bit campy in tone instead of driving a point home.
Right, and I kind of agree with you. Like, female empowerment is the theme, but it's kind of lost in the shuffle.
Right,
it kind of dissolves as the movie goes on, and it just feels like, towards the second half anyway, a kind of a generic comedy that kind of felt a little familiar to me.
But with that said, I think that its stride, I think its effort should be taken very well, and I think
it's a good effort by Heather Graham.
I think to my wife's point, and there's a lot of women that feel the same way. There's a time and a place, and there's a type of film that portrays a certain topic. There's comedic ones like this, and then there's more dramatic ones that take a deeper stab. And I think for what it does, I think it's a great comedy. I think you'll get a lot of laughs out of it. I think it's just a great time at the movies. It's a great girls' night out. It's a great companion piece to watch on Netflix, if you will. And I think whoever watches it will get some great laughs out of it. But will it be in my top 10? Am I eager to see it again? Not so much, but I do respect its efforts, and it did maintain my level of interest throughout the film.
You know, it kind of reminded me, I don't know if you saw it, it was called Fun Mom's Dinner.
No.
It came out early last year. Actually, one of the first episodes I did hear, we reviewed it, and it had Molly Shannon in as well. Okay. Basically, it's about three or four women who all have kids in an elementary school, and they meet every day, you know, small talk. But then they eventually decide to, like, let's go out and have a fun mom's dinner. Let's have dinner, drinks, and, you know, like basically a hangover for women.
Right. Almost is reminiscent of like Game Night. That's kind of
something I want to see. I love Jason Bateman, but that's a side note. But yeah, women in comedy. You know, what do you think of that? It's mostly a male-dominated.
Women in comedy. I'm all for it. I mean,
good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
No, it's terrible.
I think there's some really strong female actors doing comedy. I think Kristen Wiig is great. I think Melissa McCartney. I think she's great as well. I think her shtick's getting a little old, but I think Rashida Jones, what she's doing within even the television sphere, I think is great. But I also, and I can talk a lot about this with other topical films, but I think Hollywood in particular should kind of stop putting the platform on women and just assimilate everyone by now. You know, and that, you know, I think we should stop saying, hey, this movie is about female empowerment because of X, Y, and Z, and this movie should have a female lead because of X, Y, and Z. And regardless if you're a man or a woman, you should just have the best actors and actresses to be placed in that role.
It's not just about sex or race or I mean, it's a dream of a lot of people to just have in one peaceful society where everybody is integrated. Right. I know
it's not like that.
No, unfortunately.
And I think we might get there. I think so. I think we're climbing that ladder. Well, I think we need the platforms. We need those pedestals. We need the Wonder Womans where we can say, hey, this is a stab. This is a stroke for women, so that eventually we can get to a point where, you know, best actor reigns supreme, and it doesn't matter if it's a female-driven film, it's a male-driven film. What matters is that we have the best actors.
Hopefully, the intellectual will conquer the ignorant.
Right.
You know, that's just you know.
Right. I think the closest thing we got to some, and this goes not just playing with sexism, but also with race as well. I think the closest thing that we came to this was probably The Big Sick. The A story. So the story with Camille and his wife, and the fact that she goes through a coma and he falls in love. I think that doesn't really scream, oh, this is a part for a white person or a black person or a brown person. And the fact that it is a Pakistani man who's leading that role, I think it's great, and I think that doesn't come up in question. Now, the flip side of that is that you have the B story, which talks about his Pakistani background.
Right.
But again, we're just not there yet. I think once we lead to a movie that can just talk about his relationship and his coma and his
deal
illness,
with the race stuff.
yeah, and I think we're movies like that gives me light, gives me promise that we'll get there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what? That kind of
Sorry, what did you think of the movie?
of Half Magic.
yeah.
I thought it was okay. It was kind of a generic comedy.
Yeah, right.
It really didn't offer anything new, unfortunately. I did like the direction coming from Heather Graham. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But
was there much direction though, in your opinion? I mean,
you think she just had her assistant?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. There wasn't anything screaming about the direction. It actually, some of the scenes kind of threw me off with the bad editing that was involved. It kind of, I really
bad, like,
well,
okay.
The cuts were kind of stark in my opinion.
Okay.
So yeah.
What did you think of the screenplay?
It was fine.
Yeah.
I think it made well for a broad comedy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think acting, directing, writing. I think for Heather Graham in this movie, it's probably writing, acting, directing is least. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Generic but enjoyable.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I
see
would
it
say
on Netflix.
and I think anyone could really get a good laugh out of this. So yeah, it's a great broad comedy, but it's forgettable as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next up is a film, unfortunately, you didn't get to see, but it's called Too Cold to Swim, and it's an indie drama about a young guy, well, not so young, maybe 40-ish, who does a cross-country road trip from California to Maine on a bicycle. And along the way, he meets an ex-Marine and his sister, and they basically strike up a friendship, and all at the same time, his father is dying in, I think, Germany. It's a pretty serious film. It was well acted, well shot.
This is a road trip movie type?
No, not a road. It's basically just this one guy on a bike.
Okay.
Kind of like a hippie. He's got all his bags on his bike,
like an Easy Rider.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of a not a road comedy, but definitely a cross country adventure. I'd call it.
Okay.
I guess.
How's that different?
Well, it's not funny.
Okay.
But
getting to point A to point B.
Yeah, basically, I would compare it to Into the Wild.
Okay.
Emil Hirsch.
Yeah. Okay.
But that was significantly better.
Okay.
Than this. Also, Easy Rider, of course, Forrest Gump, and movies like that. But those are all much
just
better.
Just a little bit more dramatic in tone.
Yeah, but ultimately pretty pointless. He
really?
Meets these two people. They drink. They eat. They camp out. And that's about it.
So it kind of reminds me of like The Trip with Martin Sheen.
Is that the guy from Around the World in 80 Days?
I'm not too sure. You're talking about Emilio Estevez or
no? The one where they go to different eateries in Europe, different restaurants.
No. His son is a hiker. Is a big hiker, and he dies.
The Way.
Did I say The Trip? Yes.
Yeah, The Way.
Yes, The Way.
With,
my fault. Yeah.
Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
No, that was a little bit better.
We were talking about the movies. This is the point with having just a movie that calls.
Yeah, we might talk about that for a minute here. Chris has a little hang up with movie titles that start with the.
Yeah, I just think we're getting to this broad movie title trend now where it's just like the blank and there's no effort in creating
it's just a title, really. It's not the movie itself.
That's what happens when you confuse.
I want to jump in with the title thing. Like, there's this new movie coming out about like I think it's Ted Bundy or something. Zac Efron's playing him, and it's called like the evil, the wicked, the vile, the something. It's like it's a like really
three-part,
it's like a 3-part name. It doesn't make any sense. No, I could totally go aboard. Like there's an extent.
Yeah, right. Like
I mean, it grabs people like a one-note title, you know.
Yeah, but it's sometimes it's so vague. Like The Woods. Like what does that mean? Like. Or The Way, The Trip,
right.
You know. So, yeah,
okay.
but with that said, it's with The Way, he kind of follows the father who's trying to follow in his son's footsteps and complete the journey around the Alps without him. Yeah,
I like that one. That was Martin Sheen
nice,
in a very physical role.
Right. Yeah.
Really camping out and hiking. And
So, but was it to that level with that?
No,
depth?
not as intense or gritty.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a much better film actually.
Oh, okay. Okay. Huh. So that's off your radar.
Well, not off completely. It's very low on the radar. It's kind of like on the
It's on the cusp.
edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely on the cusp.
Okay.
But let's go to a movie that we both saw.
We both saw. Okay.
And that every human being on the planet has seen at this point.
Yeah.
And that is the new Marvel blockbuster, Black Panther.
Yeah.
So
Steve liked that one.
Steve, chime in.
I was very happy with that one, man. Like I thought it was really well. It's a well placed. It's a beautiful time to have a movie like this. I was really upset that we didn't have it earlier in the franchises.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
Yeah.
I thought we could have used this movie a little bit more. Like I don't know. We started out 10 years ago with Iron Man.
We did.
Yeah.
Like
08.
Yeah. So it's like, we could have used this like maybe first or second Marvel phase.
Yeah.
But then I understand the whole thing of like Wakanda not wanting to be like
too
well known.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see that you don't want to be like addressing like, oh, we finally have a black superhero, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Who's not like a secondary thing. But
Right.
man, that was a good movie.
Yeah, you liked it a lot, huh?
I liked it.
It was good.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was fantastic. Like I've seen it before. Like it feels like all the other formulaic Marvel movies.
It is very formulaic, and then like in my eyes, I see that like because that happens a lot with like all different media. Like you don't like it doesn't blow the roof off.
Yeah,
it's not like the best storyline,
right?
But you have a good bad guy.
Right.
You have like an interesting city and like interesting characters.
Wakanda was really beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to live there.
point.
Actually,
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Like there was this marriage of technology in that movie.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like technology and African culture. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like,
That was cool. The marriage. I'll give you that. I think I'm more in line of Randy though. I think it's forgettable in a lot of senses, like a lot of Marvel movies.
It's a carbon copy of everything that's come before.
Yeah, but I think with this statement too, I'm fearing that the show is making me out to be a sexist and a racist. But I think the best compliment I can give is that it feels assimilated to the Marvel universe. So when coming out of the theater, it doesn't matter if this was a black statement film or like one for this culture or a cultural effort. Yeah. It felt like we're one and the same. So all the hype that's driven towards this film, I'm all for it. Yeah. It's just for me as a film, I think it lost kind of steam after the Korean scene. Once they kind of left Korea,
the pacing was weird.
Yeah,
the pacing was weird. I thought the CGI could be a little bit better. I was kind of like, some points I was like, that's really bad. And then
I thought it was okay. Was that ILM?
I don't know who it was. But like there were some points I was kind of like, wow, that's really rough. Like a little too like green.
Like the ship landing was a little fuzzy.
The ships were fine. Like the fight between Killmonger when he's in his suit versus Black Panther or T'Chaka in his suit, like I was kind of like, okay, there's some parts that just look really rough.
Right, yeah.
Like,
I noticed that then too, yeah.
It looked like someone shaking a bottle of water at one point. That's kind of
right.
It's kind of like, man, you made Iron Man look real. You made Iron Man real. Come on.
Yeah, no, I agree. There, visually, it was great, but yeah, there were moments that just kind of threw me off.
And it was over 2 hours. I think it could have benefited by being maybe 20, 40 minutes shorter. I don't know.
I definitely feel they could have cut 20.
Yeah.
Solid 20 minutes it could have been cut off.
Yeah.
I do think Michael B. Jordan killed it. I think he did that was an excellent bad guy, I felt.
Yeah. Also, guys, no spoilers for those listeners.
Yeah, that's true.
But I wasn't impressed by Michael B. Jordan. I mean, I loved him in Creed.
Yeah.
But here, it could have been just any other actor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and when he first entered the film, I kind of felt like it was his character from Creed a little bit. Just the way that he was talking a little bit. I'm like, is he just a one-note actor? But I think he kind of grew into the character a little bit more, especially when he did the fight sequence for it to become king.
The challenge.
The challenge, yeah. But I think it's definitely a different villain for the Marvel universe, and I don't know the character too well in the comic book realm of things, but
they added a human element to it, like a real but it came a little too late in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And I think it's really good on perspective. I think this movie's going to be a big standout for the future of Marvel in certain aspects. I'm a big follower of the comics and stuff, and now you have this Iron Man's no longer Iron Man anymore. Tony Stark steps down,
right,
and now there's someone that has to replace him,
right,
in the comics, and he picks a young African girl who does it. And I'm thinking, I'm like, that's gonna be the little sister,
Right.
and
yeah.
she was awesome too in that movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be
But-
cool. Kind
Well,
of.
what about
passing
War
the
Machine?
time.
Is he still War Machine?
War
Or-
Machine's still like, I think he's being like, I gotta rewatch a lot of the movies because
Yeah,
he's hurt.
right.
He's
That's- I need to rewatch.
Yeah,
it.
I'm like, I need to watch 8 years of movies. But
Am I
I
gonna
think
do this?
I
Yeah.
think War Machine is being like held like somewhere in Wakanda, and he's being like worked on or something. Because like it's even really hard to kind of place exactly where this movie should be compared to everything else.
And then there's the tie-in with Captain America too, right?
Yeah.
So,
There's so many movies that you gotta rewatch to connect the dots.
yeah, just my trouble with a lot of the Marvel movies is that I literally walk out of the theater and can't remember anything
What
that
the
I
hell
just
you
saw.
just saw?
Yeah,
That's a thing. Because when people think about, like, someone asks me like, "Oh, what's your favorite movies?" I never pick a Marvel movie. I don't even pick Star Wars.
Right.
I love Star Wars. I don't pick either of those two because I'm just like, those are just pure like mindless.
They
I
throw
don't-
so much
Vegetation,
at you.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
like a sensory overload.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I don't pick those movies because there's no real substance that makes me go, huh?
Right,
That's a thought.
Right.
Like,
Right, and I do feel like that people were trying to get that from this movie, and I think to a certain extent you get it, especially with Mon Killer is his name.
Killmonger.
Killmonger.
Yeah.
I flipped it. I think with his character, you kind of get that. It's definitely something different. So it's definitely the villain side of things is definitely something to watch out for in this film.
Speaking
if you
of-
haven't seen it, which
Speaking of villains, I loved Claw.
Claw's good.
oh
yeah.
man,
Andy
Andy
Serkis?
Serkis.
Oh, he's
I wanted
awesome.
the whole movie to just be him.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's so
man. Like
Yeah.
I'm happy for him because I'm like
Yeah.
gladly he finally gets to work without having to wear a goddamn mocap suit.
That's true. That's true.
But is he really that buffed? Because he seemed pretty big in this.
He's
might have
pretty,
gotten to shape
he's
for
pretty,
it,
Yeah, because he was like skinny in Lord of the Rings and
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes, I think.
Yeah.
And it was just surprising.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his character.
Yeah, he was so
he's one of my
he was
favorites. of
he
the
was
film.
really good.
Awesome
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah,
Funny
he's-
too.
Yeah.
He's like excellent in everything. He's
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
He's really I love his acting.
Oh, absolutely, and it's great that he's getting some real time
Yeah.
exposure. Yeah.
Human exposure. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you actually
Gr-
see him.
Granted, he had to take his arm and put it like in a shirt for like a good half of the movie.
But yeah, he's used to doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, oh, just motion capture.
That's it. It's just another day at work for him.
Yeah.
So speaking of the actors, you've got Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
What'd you think of him?
He's the
He's Black Panther.
he is the lead.
T'Challa.
He's good. I liked him quite a bit. I think he makes for a good protagonist. I think he makes for a good king. I think he has that great presence. I think overall he did fine. You know, it didn't wow me. It didn't wow me like Michael B. Jordan didn't wow me.
Right.
But I think he holds up. I think if this franchise were to take a spin towards Black Panther, I think he'll do a good job at
He
taking
carried this into
Yeah.
at least 2 more movies, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we got Infinity War coming.
Infinity
up
War's
next.
coming
yeah,
out.
it's true.
And that's 2 parts.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's always 2 parts. Part
Marvel
one.
trying to top themselves.
Yeah.
They're gonna. I don't know.
It's just the snake
too
eating
much.
its tail. Yeah.
It's too much. Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna run out of steam, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, after Infinity War, I think it's going to be kind of.
How much bigger can you get?
Well, that's why I think that's happening. They said that Disney has 20 more movies planned. And I'm like, okay, well, this is Infinity War. This is like the end. And like, this is going to be a big turning point for Disney and Marvel. What do you do with your characters after this?
Right.
Prequels, I guess. I don't know.
Well, give
other
us,
universes.
Can we get like a Black Widow movie, please?
Yeah.
Like come on.
I think they're working on that. Yeah.
Are they?
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. We'll see.
Are they doing another Spider-Man? Like
Yes.
With Tom
Oh,
Holland?
sure, yeah.
Well, they're doing that, and then they got Sony's got the Venom movie coming
Right,
out,
That's true.
right.
which
Yeah.
you saw the trailer for before this one, and it's just Tom Hardy being Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Like,
That's cool. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I think I gravitate more towards villains.
Do you?
Yeah, for some reason.
They should do movies just about the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have like DC's doing Suicide Squad, so.
Are they doing a second one?
Oscar-winning movie. I don't. Suicide Squad is an Oscar-winning movie. Like,
Did it win Best Makeup or something?
yeah, it won Best Makeup, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like Jared freaking Leto?
That grill, man. You know, you can't beat
Yeah.
that.
And now Logan's up too for.
Well, that's a good.
Adapted
That's a
screen
solid
yeah.
movie. That's like a well-acted film. It doesn't feel. That's not a superhero movie, in my opinion. That's just.
No. I wish a lot of superhero movies were like that. Yeah.
That and Deadpool. Those are like unique. They kind of.
Deadpool is just just good fun.
Yeah.
You know? Good rated R fun.
But it's not formulaic like Black Panther was.
No, but I said the same thing about Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and then 2 seemed very formulaic to me.
Yeah,
So
that was a clone of the first movie. I didn't
well,
appreciate
clone of
played
yeah,
it safe.
Played it safe. It felt like a Marvel movie, which,
Well, okay.
So it's Black Panther is. Did you want to go through any other actors or?
Oh,
anything?
sure. I mean,
Black Panther is definitely on my radar.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it, but
right.
it's definitely a good contender in the Marvel universe. But with that said, as I was mentioning to you before, I think I'm kind of overwhelmed and kind of sick with comic book movies.
There's like 3 a year, 3 or 4 a year.
Yeah, they have to space it out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's too
Like,
many.
I feel like I just saw Thor Ragnarok yesterday.
And
that was
they
great
want to
too.
beat it to death. Yeah, so
too much.
I'm okay with detoxing.
They
from
gotta
comics.
space it out, like maybe 2-3 a year.
No, they're not going to though.
You know,
It's a cash grab.
I know they're just printing money.
Yeah,
at this
pretty
point.
much. Yeah, make it rain.
But speaking of the actors again, Lupita Nyong'o.
Is that the sister?
That's the love interest for T'Challa.
Oh, okay. She was good.
She's great.
Yeah, she was really good. I wish I would see more of her in the film.
Yeah. No, I think there was a good amount.
The younger sister blew me away. I think she had just a great likable presence. I think she was really funny. I like the fact that it made her character to be really smart and funny at the same time.
Right. The medical science.
If that would make sense, was that the character that you were mentioning about taking over
for Iron Man, because Tony Stark eventually stops.
I totally see that, because Tony Stark is kind of funny and sarcastic and smart, and she's the same way. I totally see that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I liked her. Relatively of a newcomer, I'd say.
Yeah, she was in Black Mirror.
Okay.
She was in an episode of that.
Okay.
And she has a little bit of a following.
Okay.
So she's gonna blow up in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I would think so.
We'll have her on the show soon. So, and we've got a painfully underused Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah,
He's one of my favorites.
Like you forgot that he was in there, right?
Yeah.
They must have paid him a bunch too.
Well, I think that's his thing now. Like he did the same thing with Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Like he's there, but like
he has a presence for like 3 minutes, and then that's it.
That's it.
Look at my eye, and then die.
Steve went there.
I
had to.
But that's his thing, where it's like, sign me up for these mega franchises. Let me collect my paycheck and go home.
But he's such a talented actor, though.
Yeah.
He deserves. I mean, he has an Oscar, so I guess once you win the Oscar, you kind of coast it.
Yeah,
but
I think he hasn't been utilized well in a long time.
Yeah, agreed. Since he won the Oscar, and of course Angela Bassett. Plays the mother of the king of T'Challa.
I really like her as an actress, I have to say.
You don't, or you do?
I do.
Yeah.
I like her as an actress really well.
Yeah, talking about strong female leads.
Oh yeah,
like
she takes
phenomenal.
everything seriously, and she's like, "Let's do this," and I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah. Even with Wakanda,
and she's ripped too. Did you see her at the Oscars like a couple years ago? Like you could see her traps. Like it's really,
oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm impressed that she knew how to say traps.
She could have taken on like Killmonger.
She could. That would have been awesome.
Get me a spear. Let's do this.
That's a director's cut. And then you've got Martin Freeman, who plays the CIA agent who gets roped into this adventure. He provided some of the film's funniest lines, I'd say. Some comic relief.
Okay.
Did you appreciate Mr. Freeman's performance?
Could you remind me of some of his lines?
He had some good reactions.
No, he was fine. Again, like everyone in this film was great.
Yeah.
Just nothing particularly, highlighting or wowing.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good watch.
It's a fun movie, and it's good for the kids, which I always say.
Good for the kids.
That's what superhero movies should be for, the kids.
Yeah. So, do you agree with this like rated R movement then?
For
just for comic book movies, if seems like it's going more into that realm.
That's a tricky subject because this was, I'm assuming, PG-13.
Right.
But you've got movies like Deadpool, which are R. Right. Actually, wasn't it up for like an NC-17 or?
I think so, but it's R. Yeah.
I think
Logan's R.
Yeah, that's true. So there's a line that kind of gets blurred every now and then. I think they should always be PG-13. Like I grew up with Batman, like Tim Burton's Batman.
Right. Yeah. Me too.
PG-13 all the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even before that, you've got Gremlins and Temple of Doom, which were rated PG, just PG. But they got a scene where a guy's, pulling his heart out of his chest. So
right.
They had to create the PG-13 rating because of that movie.
True.
But
didn't realize
I
that.
think superhero movies should pretty much always be PG-13,
Yeah.
just so they can be
Just
family
kind of
friendly.
level off that audience between new and
Yeah,
or young and old. Yeah.
it really should be for the whole family.
Yeah.
And PG-13 is that line.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I'm very connected to what the people online say, like the uber nerds, as I call myself. But a lot of people feel that like Deadpool should be rated R because the content of the comic
Right.
is rated R.
True.
Which I understand. But like then again, like this is kind of how you start the whole like situation where you got parents who walk into this movie and they don't know it's rated R.
Right. Right.
And like a lot of people who pay, like, let me get your ticket. And they see kids like whatever, I'll just assume that's funny because nowadays you can't say anything.
Right.
You know, you can't tell people it's rated R because then they'll flip out.
Right.
So you have people going, I didn't know it was like this, and then they leave.
Right,
And
right.
You know, like
Well, parents should be screening, at least the
Oh.
trailers and reading the
Yeah.
reviews ahead of
Yeah.
time before it. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make that much of a difference to me.
Yeah.
I feel. I
I agree with that. I think also to that context too, like Thor, the latest Thor was kind of frowned upon within the geek culture because it was too funny, right?
Whatever.
Because and Thor's not, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Oops. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you can't please everyone.
And even the PG-13 rated superhero movies are pretty dark most of the time, like the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
That's not really for kids, but
Right.
yet it's Batman, and they market it to kids with
Was it
action.
PG-13?
It was PG-13.
It was. That was borderline rated R. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that was a big year because Christopher Nolan, he wanted to get like an award or something like that. No, some other director was making a movie at the same time, and he's like, "How come I got a rated R note on mine, but Christopher Nolan does one? It's borderline. Like, what's the problem with that?" So that raised like a big controversy for a while.
Huh. Yeah.
I mean, PG-13 movies they're not even for kids anymore.
Right.
Like, they're very
And
violent.
I think that's the rating that most studios want to go for because
Yeah.
it draws a bigger audience.
It's
right?
the most sellable.
Right,
That's
right,
why
right.
animated films really are great. Great.
Right,
money- money
but that's even lower. That's G a lot of times, right? So
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
excluding the teens that really don't want to associate themselves.
Well, I mean,
with
adults.
kids movies,
These
right?
Pixar films are
True.
geared towards adults as well.
Right,
The
true.
humor in
true.
them.
And now they're trying to do stuff like Sausage Party, where we have
Oh.
rated R.
See, that did not
Animation
work for me. I
Yeah,
tried. I was
yeah.
like, "This is gonna be awesome. This is an animated Superbad. Wow!"
Nope.
And it was not that.
No.
I respect what they were trying to
I think
do.
they kind of went really far left with that one.
Yeah,
Like,
they went too-
They
yeah.
went a little too far.
Yeah.
But that's Seth Rogen for you, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
So, Chris, we got a couple minutes left.
Sure.
What are you looking forward to in
What am I
theaters?
looking forward
Yeah.
to? To be honest, I'm still on Oscar mode a little bit. So
Oh, okay.
I feel like this every year. I'm like, why don't I know what's going on like in the summer or like the fall? Like I'm still thinking about 2017. That's because of Oscar movies. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. I want to catch up on Annihilation with Natalie
Natalie
Portman.
Portman?
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, I'm a big Pixar fan, so I'm excited about
Incredibles
Incredibles 2.
Me too.
Yeah, and but I'm really looking forward to this new slew of independent movies that are coming out. So once they're on my radar, I'll be pecking away at them.
Same here.
Yeah.
But
How
back-
about you?
Well, as you mentioned, The Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
It took them 14 years to come up with a sequel. I don't know why it took so long. This better be good. That's all
better,
I'm saying.
Or else we're gonna come after
Yeah.
you, Pixar.
Because Pixar's sequels have not always been that great. Monsters University.
Yeah, but
Wasn't thrilled.
then again, like you have Toy Story, which
Toy Story 2 and 3.
is one of my favorite trilogies
I
out
agree
there.
with
Yeah.
that one. But then you've got Cars 2 and 3, which
Yeah.
I'm not
3
into.
was pretty good.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Was
into
that the dark one? Like the trailer came out, and it was like an uber dark.
Yeah, it's like like he
Yeah.
flips over and he's on like
Jeez.
yeah,
But
That one.
yeah,
Yeah.
Incredibles 2. I'm
Incredibles
excited
2,
to-
yeah.
And Isle of Dogs, the new Wes
yes.
Anderson.
How could I forget? Yes,
I was waiting for you to mention that.
I know, and I totally blinked on that. Isle of Dogs. Yeah, I'm really looking forward
Yes.
to that.
Now-
Talking about like an adult type of animation film.
Yeah.
You know, like that's very dry and very.
Is it based
Western-
on a comic?
I
Feels
think-
like it might be.
I think it's
or
very.
a manga.
I don't know, but I think it's very much original, you know, to Wes Anderson standards. You know,
Because I know the
Bi-
Fantastic Mr. Fox was a
Yeah.
Roald Dahl novel, book,
Oh.
children's book.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
awesome.
I'm just looking forward to it. I think what I particularly like with Wes Anderson is just his level of detail. So
Yes.
you know, even like looking at the trailers, just you get this sense that he's really meticulous, and it shows in his work.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a big fan of his latest work. I just rewatched Moonrise Kingdom
It's a great
again.
movie.
Love that
Great
movie.
movie.
Yeah. So
Grand Budapest Hotel is
phenomenal.
marvel.
Yeah. It's just it's so unique, his stuff,
Yeah.
and like that. It's just a vision that we don't see in theaters a
Yeah.
lot, and I'm surprised that he's still in theaters. I'm surprised like he's not running to Netflix nowadays and getting the latest funding. So I'm really glad that he's.
I think he's just a
still in
true
there.
artist. He doesn't really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Money is not on his. That's not on his mind when he's
Right.
making a movie.
Have you ever read one of his screenplays?
Yeah,
It's like reading a gigantic book. It's
right,
insane.
yeah.
There's so many little details.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like there's like things that are like when he describes a character, like he was talking about Rushmore, I think it was, and they had Jason Schwartzman. Like one of the reasons why Jason Schwartzman's character is such an asshole the whole movie is because like it's his birthday and no one's saying happy birthday to him. That's something you wouldn't get that from watching watching the movie. It's
That makes
in
sense now.
Yeah, it's in the screenplay.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's almost like you need to go into the movie knowing the background a lot of these things. And I appreciate that a lot.
And I think there's a coffee table book where they like connect all of the
His-
movies into
yeah.
one universe. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Oh, it's
wild.
cool.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
awesome.
You definitely get that feeling, and I think that's something that's lost in a lot of these auteur directors, where you lack this vision of universe. Like it could be stated within the Marvel universe, you could stamp it down, but it just doesn't feel that way. So I'm appreciative over directors like him, and for that matter, like Quentin Tarantino. I think he even mentioned that his movies
they all
relate.
connect.
Yeah, they all connect.
Yeah,
somehow.
Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction are like the same.
Yeah, True Romance is in there too.
Great
so,
movie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you see Wes Anderson directing a superhero movie ever?
No.
I love it.
Yeah,
I'd go broke. I'd go broke watching that.
Didn't they do?
They
like
did.
a
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
That's where I was thinking.
Yeah.
That
This is
was-
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Wes Anderson
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
They did Spider-Man. They did Star Wars.
Star Wars,
it's all
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
that,
great.
yeah, that would be awesome, but I don't think we're gonna get.
I wish. Yeah.
Although we might get a Danny Boyle James Bond.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's
He did 28 Days Later, right?
28 Days Later. He did Sunshine. He did the latest Steve Jobs movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was written by Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
But he's one of those visionary directors too.
Yeah.
I loved Trance. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we're nearing the end
we're
here, unfortunately.
Yeah, we can talk for hours.
We could,
Yeah.
and we'll be back actually next week
Yes.
to just basically discuss our Oscar predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Who will win the coveted gold statue?
Yes.
And
Best picture.
best actor, director.
Yeah, actress.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
All those fun montages.
Yes.
Best movies over the past 100 years.
Yeah. It's the 90th, right?
This is the 90th, so it's gonna be
Yeah, it's a big milestone.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Wow, 90 years.
Yeah.
I don't feel that old, but
Oh, good. You're not 90.
no,
So.
yes. So, Chris, do you have anything you want to plug before we go?
Yeah, no, just look at my work under the radar, and also moviechat.org.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, guys, thanks for watching this week. We'll be back next week with more Under the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Take care.
Good.
Good show.
Excellent.
Thanks, Steve.
That was good.
Crazy, strange, angry athlete.